Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine something for a moment. Picture a world where nothing ever gets started. No dreams realized, no goals achieved, no mountains climbed. Sounds pretty bleak, does not it? Well, I'm here to tell you that without commitment, that's exactly the world we'd be living in. Commitment is the spark that ignites the fire of action. It's the fuel that keeps us going when the road gets tough. Without it, we are just dreamers floating aimlessly in a sea of what-ifs. Maybes. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I have tried committing before, and it did not work out. Well, let me ask you this. Did you really commit, or did you just dip your toe in the water? There's a big difference between saying you are committed and actually being committed. True commitment means going all in. It means burning the boats so there's no turning back. It means making a decision and sticking to it, come hell or high water. I remember a young man and I met years ago. He told me he wanted to start a business, but he was afraid of failing. I asked him, what's worse, failing or never trying at all? He looked at me like I would just revealed the secrets of the universe. And you know what? He went on to start that business. Sure, he faced challenges, but his commitment saw him through. That's the power of commitment, folks. It turns I want into I will. It transforms wishful thinking into purposeful action. Why commitment is so crucial? First off, it gives you clarity. When you are truly committed to something, all the noise and distractions fade away. Your path becomes clear and your decisions become easier. You are no longer wondering, should I or should not? You have already decided. You are committed. Secondly, commitment breeds consistency, and consistency, my friends, is the key to success in any endeavor. It's not about making grand gestures or heroic efforts once in a blue moon. It's about showing up day after day, putting in the work, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. I once knew a woman who decided to write a book. She committed to writing just 1 page a day. Not much, right? But here's the kicker. She did it every single day for a year. Rain or shine, busy or free, she wrote that 1 page. And at the end of the year, guess what? She had a 365-page manuscript. That's the power of commitment and consistency. But here's the thing about commitment. It's not always easy. In fact, it's often downright difficult. It means saying no to things you might want to say yes to. It means pushing through when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to quit. I remember a time when I was just starting out in my career. I had committed to giving a series of seminars, but I was terrified of public speaking. The night before my first seminar, I was a nervous wreck. I wanted nothing more than to call it off and hide under my bed. But I had made a commitment, not just to the organizers, but to myself. So I showed up, knees knocking, voice shaking, and I gave that seminar. Was it perfect? Far from it, but I did it. And each seminar after that got a little easier, a little better. That's another beautiful thing about commitment. It does not demand perfection. It just demands that you show up and give it your all. Now, some of you might be wondering, how do I know what to commit to? That's a great question. In a world full of options and opportunities, it can be overwhelming to decide where to focus your energy. Here's my advice. Commit to what truly matters to you. Not what society tells you should matter, not what your parents or friends or colleagues think should matter, but what matters to you, deep in your heart. Ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like in 5 years? In 10 years? At the end of my life? The answers to these questions will give you a pretty good idea of what you should be committing to. Maybe it's building a successful business. Maybe it's becoming the best parent you can be. Maybe it's making a difference in your community. Whatever it is, once you have identified it, commit to it with everything you have got. And here's a little secret. When you commit to something that truly matters to you, it does not feel like a burden. It feels like a privilege. Sure, there will be tough days, but overall, your commitment will energize you, inspire you, drive you forward. The flip side of commitment for a moment. What happens when we don't commit? Well, I will tell you, and nothing happens. And that is the greatest tragedy of all. Lack of commitment is the graveyard of potential. It's where dreams go to die. It's the reason why so many people look back on their lives with regret, wondering what if. I have met countless people over the years who had brilliant ideas, amazing talents, incredible potential, but they never fully committed. They always had one foot out the door, always had a backup plan, always left themselves an easy way out. And you know what? They never achieved what they were capable of. Don't let that be you. Don't be the person who looks back on their life and wonders what could have been if only they had committed. Now, I'm not saying you should commit recklessly. Commitment does not mean jumping off a cliff without looking. It means deciding to climb the mountain, knowing it's going to be a tough journey, but committing to reach the summit anyway. Before you commit, do your research. Understand what you're getting into. But once you have done that, once you have decided that this is what you want to do, then commit fully. No half measures, no hedging your bets. Remember, commitment is not about feeling. It's about deciding. You don't have to feel 100% confident or 100% ready. You just have to decide that this is what you are going to do, come what may. I want to share a little story with you. There was once a young athlete who dreamed of winning an Olympic gold medal. He committed to his training with everything he had. He woke up at 4 a.m. every day to train before school. He spent his weekends in the gym when his friends were out having fun. He watched his diet like a hawk, even when everyone around him was indulging in junk food. Was it easy? No. Did he sometimes want to quit? Absolutely, but he had made it a commitment and he stuck to it. And you know what? He did not win that Olympic gold medal. He came in 4th. Now, you might be thinking, what kind of motivational story is this? Well, here's the thing. When I met this athlete years later, he told me that he had no regrets. He said, I gave it everything I had. I could not have done any more than I did. And that knowledge is worth more than any medal. That's the power of commitment. It's not about the outcome. It's about who you become in the process. It's about the satisfaction of knowing you gave it your all, that you did not hold anything back. How to cultivate commitment in your life. First and foremost, you need to be clear about what you want. Vague goals lead to vague commitments. Be specific. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, say, I want to start a business that helps people live healthier lives. Instead of saying, I want to be a better person, say, I want to volunteer at the local shelter every weekend. Once you've got clarity, the next step is to make a public declaration. Tell people about your commitment, not for their approval, but for accountability. When you tell others what you are committed to, you are much more likely to follow through. Next, create a plan. Break your big commitment down into smaller, manageable steps. If you are committed to writing a book, commit to writing 500 words a day. If you are committed to losing weight, commit to exercising for 30 minutes every day and cutting out sugary drinks. Your plan needs to include how you will handle obstacles, because make no mistake, obstacles will come. The road to any worthwhile goal is never smooth. So plan for the bumps. What will you do when you don't feel motivated? How will you handle setbacks? Having a plan for these situations will help you stay committed when the going gets tough. And speaking of tough times, resilience, commitment and resilience go hand in hand. When you are truly committed to something, you develop a kind of mental toughness that allows you to bounce back from failures and setbacks. I once knew a man who was committed to starting his own restaurant. His first attempt failed miserably. He lost all his savings. But instead of giving up, he went back to working in other restaurants, learning everything he could about the business. 5 years later, he tried again. This time, armed with more knowledge and experience, he succeeded. Today, he owns a chain of successful restaurants. That's resilience born of commitment. It's the ability to say, I may have failed, but I am not a failure. I'm committed to this goal and I will find another way. Fear? Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown. These fears are natural, but they shouldn't stop you from committing. Commitment does not eliminate fear. What it does is give you the courage to act in spite of fear. When you are truly committed to something, you will find that your commitment is stronger than your fear. On one side, you have your fears, your doubts, your insecurities. On the other side, you have your dreams, your goals, your vision for your life. Which side do you want to be stronger? Which side do you want to drive your actions? When you commit, you're essentially saying, my dreams are more important than my fears. My goals are more powerful than my doubts. And that, my friends, is a game changer. It's easy to commit to others, to our jobs, our families, our communities. But how often do we make and keep commitments to ourselves? Committing to yourself means honoring your own needs and desires. It means making promises to yourself and keeping them, even when no one else is watching. It means treating yourself with the same respect and consideration you would give to others. This could mean committing to a daily self-care routine, to pursuing a passion project, to setting boundaries in your relationships. Whatever it is, when you make and keep commitments to yourself, you build self-trust and self-respect. And let me tell you, there's no stronger foundation for success than that. I want you to think about something for a moment. What's one commitment you can make to yourself today? It does not have to be big. Maybe it's committing to read for 15 minutes every day, or to take a walk during your lunch break, or to spend 10 minutes each evening planning for the next day. Whatever it is, commit to it, and then honor that commitment as if your life depended on it. Because in a way, it does. The ability to say no. When you are committed to something, you will often have to say no to other things. And that's okay. In fact, it's necessary. Every time you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else. So when you commit to a goal or a project, you are essentially saying no to anything that does not align with that commitment. This can be tough. We live in a world of endless possibilities and opportunities. Saying no can feel like we are missing out. But here's the thing. Saying no to what's not important is how you say yes to what is important. I once met a young entrepreneur who was trying to do everything. He was saying yes to every opportunity, every project, every client, and guess what? He was stressed, overwhelmed, and not making much progress on any front. I advised him to get clear on his priorities and start saying no to anything that did not align with those priorities. It was not easy for him at first. He was afraid of missing out on opportunities. But as he started saying no more often, he found that he had more time and energy to focus on what truly mattered to him. His business began to thrive, and more importantly, he felt more fulfilled and less stressed. Remember, commitment is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things, the important things, with focus and dedication. Now, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked when we discuss commitments: the role of passion. You see, commitment and passion are like two sides of the same coin. Passion fuels commitment, and commitment deepens passion. When you are passionate about something, commitment comes more easily. You are naturally drawn to spend time and energy on it. But here's the interesting part. Even if you start with just a spark of interest, commitment can fan that spark into a flame of passion. I've seen this happen countless times. People start something with just a mild interest, but as they commit to it, as they invest time and effort into it, they discover a deep well of passion they never knew existed. So don't wait for passion to magically appear before you commit. Sometimes you need to commit first and let the passion grow through your commitment. Now, I want to address something that might be on some of your minds. You might be thinking, but what if I commit to something and then realize it's not right for me? What if I change my mind? That's a valid concern. And here's what I want you to understand. Commitment is not a prison sentence. It's not about stubbornly sticking to something that's clearly not working or that no longer aligns with your values or goals. True commitment includes the wisdom to recognize when it's time to recommit in a different direction. The key is to make this decision consciously and intentionally, not on a whim or at the first sign of difficulty. If you find yourself in a situation where you are questioning your commitment, ask yourself, is this just a temporary challenge that I need to push through? Or has something fundamentally changed that requires me to reevaluate my commitment? If it's the former, then it's time to double down your commitment, to remind yourself why you started in the first place. But if it's the latter, then it's okay to change course. The important thing is to make a conscious decision and then commit fully to that new direction. Remember, changing course does not mean you have failed. It means you have learned, grown, and are now making a more informed decision. That's not failure, that's progress. When you commit to something and follow through, it does not just affect that one area of your life. It has a positive impact on everything you do. When you honor your commitments, you build integrity. You become known as someone who can be counted on, someone who follows through. This opens doors in your personal and professional life that you might never have imagined. Moreover, the discipline and focus you develop through commitment spill over into other areas of your life. You become more organized, more efficient, more effective in everything you do. But perhaps most importantly, commitment changes how you see yourself. With each commitment you honor, you prove to yourself that you are capable, that you can be trusted, that you can achieve what you set out to do. This builds a deep well of self-confidence that will serve you in all areas of your life. I want to share a powerful technique with you that can help strengthen your commitment. It's called visualization. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, oh, here we go with the woo-woo stuff. But bear with me because this is backed by science. When you vividly imagine yourself achieving your goal, your brain responds almost as if you have actually achieved it. This does two things. It reinforces your commitment, and it helps you overcome obstacles by allowing you to mentally rehearse solutions. So here's what I want you to do. Take a few minutes each day to close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself living the life you are committed to creating. See yourself taking the actions, overcoming the challenges, and ultimately achieving your goal. Make it as detailed and vivid as possible. Engage all your senses. This is not just daydreaming. It's mental rehearsal. It's programming your mind for success. And when combined with committed action, it's incredibly powerful. Perfectionism. Perfectionism and commitment might seem like they go hand in hand. But in reality, perfectionism can be the enemy of true commitment. Perfectionists often struggle to start because they are waiting for the perfect conditions. They struggle to continue because they are discouraged by any mistake or setback. And they struggle to finish because nothing ever seems good enough. Commitment is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about showing up, doing your best, learning from your mistakes, and keeping going. I once knew a writer who had been working on her novel for years. She was committed to writing, but she was also a perfectionist. She'd write a chapter, then spend months revising it, never moving forward. She was committed, but her perfectionism was holding her back. I advised her to commit to progress over perfection, to write a rough first draft without trying to make it perfect, to focus on getting the story out rather than making every sentence flawless. It was hard for her at first, but once she embraced this approach, she finished her first draft in 6 months. Yes, it needed editing, but she had a complete novel to work with. Her commitment, free from the chains of perfectionism, had finally allowed her to achieve what she had been dreaming of for years. This is a powerful lesson for all of us. Commitment is not about doing things perfectly. It's about doing them consistently and seeing them through to completion. The role of habits in commitment. Commitment is not just about big, dramatic gestures. It's about the small, everyday actions that move you closer to your goal. And the best way to ensure these actions happen consistently is to turn them into habits. Habits are the building blocks of commitment. They are the actions you take on autopilot without having to make a conscious decision each time. When you can turn the actions that support your commitment into habits, you are setting yourself up for long-term success. For example, if you are committed to improving your health, you might develop habits like drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, taking a 15-minute walk after lunch, or preparing healthy meals on Sunday for the week ahead. These habits, repeated day after day, week after week, become the foundation of your commitment. Start small. Don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight. Choose one small habit that supports your commitment and focus on making it stick. Once that becomes second nature, add another. Over time, these small habits will compound, creating massive change. You might think that being committed means sticking rigidly to a plan no matter what. But true commitment actually requires a degree of flexibility. Why? Because life is unpredictable. Circumstances change. New information comes to light. If you are too rigid in your approach, you might miss opportunities or continue down a path that's no longer serving you. Flexibility and commitment means being open to adjusting your methods while keeping your eye on the ultimate goal. It means being willing to learn and adapt as you go along. It does not mean changing your mind at the first sign of difficulty, but it does mean being smart enough to change your approach if something clearly is not working. I once knew a businessman who was committed to expanding his company internationally. He had a detailed 5-year plan that he was determined to follow to the letter, but when a global economic downturn hit, he initially struggled because he was so focused on sticking to his plan that he couldn't see the need to adapt. It was only when he embraced flexibility, adjusting his timeline, exploring new markets, and pivoting his product offerings, that he was able to not just weather the storm, but come out stronger on the other side. His commitment to his goal remained unwavering, but his flexibility and approach allowed him to achieve it even in the face of unexpected challenges. This brings us to another crucial aspect of commitment: resilience. Commitment and resilience go hand in hand. When you are truly committed to something, you develop the resilience to keep going even when things get tough. Resilience is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you face a challenge and push through it, you are building your resilience muscle. And the stronger your resilience, the more capable you become of honoring your commitments even in the face of adversity. Resilience. It's not about never feeling discouraged or defeated. It's about not letting those feelings stop you. It's about getting back up when you've been knocked down, dusting yourself off and keeping going. I want you to think about a time when you faced a significant setback in pursuit of a goal. How did you handle it? Did you give up or did you find a way to keep going? If you kept going, what gave you the strength to do so? Understanding your own sources of resilience can help you tap into them when you need them most. While commitment is ultimately a personal choice, having a supportive community can make a world of difference. Surrounding yourself with people who believe in you and support your goals can provide encouragement when you're feeling down, accountability when you are tempted to slack off, and celebration when you achieve milestones. This community could be friends, family, mentors, or even a group of like-minded individuals pursuing similar goals. The key is to choose people who uplift and inspire you, who challenge you to be your best self, and who understand the importance of the commitment you have made. I have seen countless examples of people achieving extraordinary things through the power of community. Weight loss groups where members support each other in their health journeys. Entrepreneurial masterminds where business owners share challenges and solutions. Writing groups where your authors encourage each other to keep putting words on the page. If you don't have this kind of community in your life right now, seek it out. Join a club, attend a meetup, or even start your own group. The support and energy of a committed community can be truly transformative. When you make a commitment, it's easy to let yourself off the hook. After all, who's going to know if you skip that workout or put off working on your business plan for another day? This is where accountability comes in. Having someone or something to hold you accountable can be a powerful motivator. It adds an extra layer of commitment, making you more likely to follow through even when you don't feel like it. Accountability can take many forms. It could be a workout buddy who expects you at the gym every morning. It could be a mentor who checks in on your progress weekly. It could even be a public declaration of your goals on social media, knowing that your friends and followers will be watching your progress. The key is to find an accountability system that works for you. Some people thrive on public accountability while others prefer a more private approach. Experiment with different methods until you find what resonates with you. Remember, the goal of accountability is not to shame or punish yourself when you fall short. It's to provide that extra push, that external motivation that can make the difference between giving up and pushing through. For long-term commitment, celebrating your progress. Too often, we are so focused on the end goal that we forget to acknowledge how far we have come. But recognizing and celebrating your progress, no matter how small, is vital for maintaining your commitment over the long haul. Celebration does two important things. First, it provides positive reinforcement, making you more likely to continue the behaviors that led to the progress. Second, it helps combat burnout by reminding you why you made this commitment in the first place. These celebrations don't have to be grand gestures. Maybe it's treating yourself to a favorite meal after hitting a milestone in your fitness journey, or taking a moment to reflect on how much you have learned after completing a challenging project at work. The important thing is to consciously acknowledge your progress and allow yourself to feel good about it. Remember, commitment is a journey, not just a destination. By celebrating the small wins along the way, you are making that journey more enjoyable and sustainable. A common misconception about commitment: the idea that being committed means you have to be serious all the time. This couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, maintaining a sense of fun and enjoyment is crucial for long-term commitment. When you enjoy what you are doing, commitment does not feel like a chore. It becomes something you look forward to, something that energizes you rather than drains you. This does not mean every moment will be fun. There will always be challenges and difficult days. But overall, there should be a sense of enjoyment and fulfillment in what you're committed to. If you find that your commitment has become a joyless grind, it might be time to reassess. Can you find ways to inject more fun into the process? Can you reframe your perspective to focus on the aspects you enjoy? Remember, commitment does not have to mean suffering. It's possible, and indeed preferable, to be both committed and joyful. Visualization is a technique used by top performers in every field, from athletes to entrepreneurs. And it can be a powerful tool in your commitment arsenal. Regularly take time to vividly imagine yourself achieving your goal. See it, feel it, hear it. Imagine the sense of accomplishment, the joy, the impact it will have on your life. Make it as real and detailed as possible in your mind. This is not just daydreaming. When you visualize, your brain does not always distinguish between a vividly imagined event and a real one. It starts to create neural pathways as if you are actually performing the action. This not only strengthens your commitment, but also prepares your mind and body for success. Try incorporating visualization into your daily routine. Perhaps spend a few minutes each morning or evening imagining yourself successfully pursuing your commitment and achieving your goals. Over time, you may be surprised at how this mental practice translates into real-world results. Let's address a critical aspect of commitment that often gets overlooked: the importance of self-care. When we are deeply committed to something, it's easy to fall into the trap of pushing ourselves relentlessly, neglecting our own well-being in the process. But this approach is not sustainable and can actually hinder our progress in the long run. True commitment includes a commitment to taking care of yourself. This means getting enough sleep, eating well, exercising, and taking time for relaxation and activities that recharge you. It means knowing when to push and when to rest. Your commitment is a long journey. To reach your destination, you need to keep your vehicle, your mind and body, in good working order. Neglecting self-care is like trying to drive across the country without ever stopping for gas or maintenance. You might make good progress initially, but eventually you will break down. Remember, taking time for self-care is not selfish or a sign of weakness. It's a crucial part of honoring your commitment and ensuring you have the energy and resilience to see it through. When you commit to something, you are not just committing to a goal. You are committing to a process of growth and learning. Every step of the way, you will encounter new challenges, new information, new skills to master. Embracing this aspect of commitment can be incredibly powerful Instead of getting frustrated when things don't go as planned, view these moments as learning opportunities. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me better? This learning mindset does two things. First, it helps you continually improve, making you more effective in pursuing your commitment. Second, it helps you stay engaged and motivated, as there's always something new to discover and master. Consider setting aside regular time for learning related to your commitment. This could be reading books, attending workshops, seeking mentorship, or simply reflecting on your experiences. The more you learn, the more equipped you will be to overcome obstacles and achieve your goals. Something that can be a major stumbling block for many people. The fear of commitment itself. This fear can manifest in many ways. Fear of failure, fear of making the wrong choice, fear of missing out on other opportunities. Commitment can be scary. It requires us to choose one path over others, to invest our time and energy into something without a guaranteed outcome. But here's the thing, not committing is often riskier than committing. When you don't commit, you remain stuck in a state of indecision and inaction. You miss out on the growth, learning, and potential success that come from fully pursuing a goal. You deny yourself the satisfaction of seeing something through to completion. If you find yourself hesitating to commit due to fear, try this. Instead of focusing on what you might lose by committing, focus on what you might gain. What opportunities might open up? How might you grow and change? What might you achieve? Remember, commitment is not about having a 100 guarantee of success. It's about deciding that something is important enough to you that you are willing to give it your all, regardless of the outcome. How we talk to ourselves about our commitments can have a huge impact on our ability to follow through. Reframing is about changing the way we perceive and describe our commitments to ourselves. For example, instead of saying, I have to do this, try saying, I get to do this. This simple shift can transform a sense of obligation into a sense of opportunity. Instead of this is hard, try this is challenging me to grow. Instead of I'm sacrificing so much for this, try I'm investing in my future. These reframes are not about denying the difficulties. They are about choosing to focus on the positive aspects, the potential for growth and achievement. They are about reminding yourself why you made this commitment in the first place. Practice catching yourself when you use negative or limiting language about your commitments. Then consciously reframe those thoughts in a more empowering way. Over time, this can significantly shift your mindset and reinforce your commitment. The role of patience in commitment. In our fast-paced world, we often expect instant results. But meaningful change and significant achievements usually take time. This is where patience becomes crucial. Patience in commitment means understanding that progress is not always linear. There will be times of rapid advancement and times where it feels like you are standing still or even moving backward. Patience allows you to weather these fluctuations without losing sight of your ultimate goal. Think of commitment like planting a tree. You don't see results immediately. For a long time, it might seem like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are growing, becoming stronger and more extensive. Then, seemingly suddenly, a tree starts to grow rapidly. Your commitments often follow a similar pattern. Cultivating patience does not mean being passive. It means continuing to take action, to show up day after day, even when you are not seeing immediate results. It means trusting in the process and in your own ability to persevere. Remember, every master was once a beginner. Every success story includes chapters of struggle and seeming lack of progress. Patience combined with persistent action is what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. The importance of flexibility in commitment. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, is not commitment about sticking to something no matter what? Not quite. True commitment requires a balance of persistence and adaptability. Being flexible in your commitment means being open to adjusting your approach when necessary. It means being willing to learn from setbacks and change course if your current path is not working. It does not mean giving up on your ultimate goal, but rather being smart about how you pursue it. Think of it like driving to a destination. If you encounter a roadblock, you don't just sit there or turn back. You find an alternate route. The destination, your commitment remains the same, but you are flexible about how you get there. This flexibility can actually strengthen your commitment. It allows you to overcome obstacles that might otherwise derail you. It keeps you engaged in learning rather than stubbornly sticking to an approach that's no longer effective. Practice being open to feedback and new information. Regularly assess your progress and be willing to make adjustments. Remember, the goal is not to stick to your original plan at all costs, but to achieve the outcome you are committed to. Address the role of identity in commitment. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen your commitment is to make it part of who you are, not just something you do. For example, instead of saying, "I'm trying to exercise more," say, "I'm an active person." Instead of, "I'm working on being more organized," say, "I'm an organized person." This shift in identity can profoundly impact your behavior and make your commitment feel more natural and sustainable. When you adopt an identity aligned with your commitment, you are no longer just following a set of rules or pursuing a goal. You are living in alignment with who you see yourself to be. This can make your committed actions feel less like a chore and more like a natural expression of who you are. Of course, this does not happen overnight. It takes time and consistent action to truly internalize a new identity. But each time you act in alignment with this new identity, you reinforce it, making it stronger and more ingrained. Consider what identity would support your commitment. How would someone who has achieved what you are committed to think and act? Start seeing yourself as that person now, and let that identity guide your actions. The power of mindfulness in maintaining commitment. Mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and aware in the moment, can be a powerful tool in your commitment arsenal. When you are mindful, you are better able to notice when you are veering off track from your commitment. You are more aware of the thoughts and emotions that might be sabotaging your efforts. And you are better equipped to make conscious choices aligned with your commitment, rather than reacting on autopilot. Mindfulness can also help you fully engage with and appreciate the process of pursuing your commitment. Instead of always focusing on the end goal, mindfulness allows you to find value and satisfaction in the journey itself. Try incorporating mindfulness into your daily routine. This could be through formal meditation practice or simply by taking moments throughout your day to pause, breathe, and fully engage with whatever you're doing. Notice how this impacts your ability to stay true to your commitments. The importance of forgiveness and commitment. This might seem odd at first. What does forgiveness have to do with commitment? But the ability to forgive yourself is crucial for maintaining long-term commitment. No matter how committed you are, there will be times when you fall short. You will have days when you don't live up to your own expectations. You will make mistakes. You will face setbacks. How you handle these moments can make or break your commitment. If you are too hard on yourself, if you beat yourself up over every slip-up, you are likely to become discouraged and maybe even give up. But if you can forgive yourself, acknowledge that mistakes are part of the process, and recommit, you are much more likely to stay the course. Forgiveness does not mean making excuses or letting yourself off the hook. It means acknowledging what went wrong, learning from it, and then moving forward without carrying the burden of guilt or shame. Practice self-forgiveness when you fall short. Treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer a good friend. Remember, the goal is progress,